Welcome to today's webinar Wednesday. The topic of today's talk will be the Edinburgh 2017 annual conference. My name is Jules. I'll do the first session. We have a total number of 4 panelists. It will be myself and then 3 of our conference stream chairs and co-chairs who will talk you through a few of the conference streams today. Let me start with a brief introduction of myself. So my name is Jules van der Zalm. I'm from the Netherlands. I work for OCS Consulting, and I'm proud to be this year's conference chair. I also wanted to share some housekeeping notes with you. If you have attended one of these sessions before, I'm sure you know this. But for those who are new, just let me take you through these. First of all, you can hear us, but we can't hear you because this is a webinar. But if you have questions, feel free to write them in the chat box in the GoToWebinar control panel. They will be collected by the PhUSE office and they will be shared with the panelists during the session, and we will go through the questions at the end of the session. So if you have any questions, don't wait, type them into the chat box, and we will be more than happy to answer them. All right, the agenda for today. We'll start with a general introduction and overview of the Edinburgh 2017 annual conference, which will be a summary of this same webinar that we did in October, which was very detailed about the intro of the conference. I'll go through that again, but then very briefly. I'll share some highlights of the upcoming conference. I'll take you through the conference streams and the changes that we see compared to last year's conference. And we'll also look at the most important timelines until October. Then after, Kriss Harris, who is the co-chair of the Real World Evidence stream, will take over and he'll talk you through that stream, followed by Michael Knoessl, who will talk about the successor of the CDISC and industry standards stream. And last but not least, we'll have Jinesh Patel talking about the poster session. And as I said, afterwards, we'll have time to go through the questions that you may have. All right, so the annual conference. As always, we've selected a conference theme, which this year is Digital Innovations in Healthcare. And the reason we chose this theme is because it really reflects an ongoing trend, not just in our industry, but in many other industries as well. We're sort of digitalizing, and of course we're all very much used to capturing our data electronically through ECRS and EDC. That's now all very, very common. That's very much really the beginning, and we see this in our personal lives, but also in our professional environments. Data is coming in through many more ways than just CRFs, and whether it's devices or sensors or phones or wristbands or whatnot, this is a whole new field, not just of data collection, but also of data reporting and analysis. So this is the theme of the conference this year, and will be the most important thing that we will talk about. So, as I said, I'll take you through some of the slides of our October webinar very briefly, just to give you the most important highlights. This will be the 13th PhUSE annual conference, the 13th in Europe. Very exciting fact is that next year we'll have an annual conference in the US as well. So from now on we'll have to distinguish between Europe and the US. This is the 13th European annual conference to be held in Edinburgh, Scotland. It's a beautiful city, medieval scenery. It holds the Scottish National Gallery of Modern Art. There's lots to see and lots to do, and I'm sure that if you get time away from the conference in your evenings or before or after the conference, there will be much to see for you. We're also celebrating sort of a first for the conference. Until now, we've always held the conference in hotels. PhUSE has seen significant growth over the past years, and we've now come to the point where we're moving to a conference center. The venue for this year's conference will be the Edinburgh International Conference Center, the EIC. It is a beautiful, very modern venue, and different from previous venues, this venue doesn't have any hotel rooms. PhUSE has selected various hotels in the vicinity of the venue. PhUSE still offers reduced rates for rooms in these hotels. I'll talk some more about that later. And having a venue like this really allows PhUSE to grow further. My co-chair is Katja Glaas from Bayer. She wasn't able to attend this meeting today. Katja is my co-chair this year, which means that Katja will be chairing the conference next year. And I'm very grateful to have her on the team. These bottom two slides are only two out of a few of these slides I had in October, where I tried to picture what kind of questions we would like to have answered from presentations and keynotes, workshops, discussion clubs in the annual conference. And again, this has everything to do with digital innovation, technology, analytics. So questions like, where do we see digital innovations in healthcare? It is everywhere, but we, as an industry, we need to pinpoint where exactly is it, and then the question is, how can we make technology work for us? Because I'm sure that it's going to change the way we work, and we should benefit from it. And these will be important topics to discuss at the conference. Next, I want to take you through some of the conference highlights. Just a few numbers. We'll have three very interesting keynote speakers. One on the Monday, one on the Tuesday, one on the Wednesday. So each day we'll see an opening by a high-profile keynote speaker. We will again have 4 hands-on workshops. These will be open to all attendees. We will open registration for the hands-on workshops in September. So if you'd like to reserve your spot in the workshop, make sure that you subscribe in time. So registration for the workshops opens in 1st of September. We'll be seeing 170 or more presentations. We will again have the CDISC discussion club. We'll of course again have an excellent Monday evening event. And new this year will be a plenary session on the Wednesday, where we will have an invited speaker from the FDA. So, taking you through the streams for the 2017 annual conference. I won't take you through all the individual streams. What's on the screen now is all the streams that we had last year that we will have again this year. So the streams that haven't changed, at least not in terms of their name or their exact content. We want to modernize and we want to keep up with industry trends, and that's why we every year look at what streams should we change or what streams should we add, which we've also done this year again. And a very significant change, which Mikael will talk to you about in a bit more detail later, is that we're sort of dropping the CDISC and industry standard stream, but we're replacing it with 2 new streams, which is data standards and governance and standards implementation. And as I said, Mikael will talk to you about this in a bit more detail. Next to that, we're also rebranding a few streams. I'm sure you've all gotten used to having Coders Corner, which is now rebranded to Coding Tips and Tricks. The poster session was always just referred to as posters, so we figured let's make things easy and call it posters. What this is what Jinesh Patel will talk to you about. And the pharmacokinetics programming and statistics stream has been rebranded to Analytics and Statistics to form a closer match with the conference theme of this year. Of course, I need to try and convince not just you, but you as well, to contribute to PhUSE. And I want to tell you why. First of all, and I really personally believe this, it's great fun. The most straightforward way to contribute, and the most popular way as well, is to submit an abstract, write a paper, do a presentation. It is great fun. It's a great way to actively participate in whatever is going on in the industry and to have your say in ongoing developments. Besides that, it's a great way to do some personal development. It's a good way to get more experience in doing presentations. PhUSE is very well known to have, let's say, a relaxed, but also a very engaged audience. And of course, a great benefit is you'll get a reduced entrance fee. All right, the most important timelines, and let me start with saying that that last line, that's a typo, which I'm very sorry for. That might be confusing, and I'll fix that in the slides that we put on the website. The conference is in October, 8 to 11 October. Starting on the top, 1st of March, that has passed. The registration for PhUSE is now open. The call for papers, C4P, is also open. That means that you can now submit your abstracts. The call for papers will remain open until the 28th of April. That's a Friday. That's when the call for paper will close by the end of business. So until that time, you can submit your abstracts. Abstracts should be about 150 words. That will allow our stream chairs to assess what is the content of your presentation, and that will be the basis for the decision to accept your submission or not. The decision of that is on the 2nd of June, which is when all the authors, everyone who submitted an abstract, will be notified of whether or not their abstracts have been accepted. And if they are, if your abstract is accepted, then you commit to preparing a paper, preparing a presentation, and doing the presentation at the PhUSE conference, which is very exciting. The 30th of June is when the early bird registration closes. So if you want to have that reduced conference fee, even if you don't submit an abstract and get accepted, you can still have a reduced conference fee if you register before the 30th of June, which is also when the conference hotel deadline is. So if you want to make use of the reduced rates for conference hotels that we've selected, make sure to register and book for the 30th of June. If you get your abstract accepted, then on the 22nd of September, we will require to receive your final slides. And then from 8 to 11 October, we will have the annual conference in Edinburgh. That concludes my part of this presentation. I will now hand over to Kriss, who will talk to you about real-world evidence.
Hello? Let me just make my screen larger. Okay, I hope you can all hear me okay. I'm Kriss Harris, and I'm a co-chair along with Berba Snoija for the Real World Evidence stream. So you're probably thinking, what is real world data? Well, real world data equals big data, and big data is basically unstructured or unstructured data, and it is a large amount of unstructured or structured data. I'm going to give you a few examples of how to utilize or how we can utilize real world data. So here is an example of the use of real world data. There's a company called the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and what they do is they provide critical health care for children, especially children who are born premature and who are in the neonatal unit. We all know that when babies are connected, when babies are born, especially in the neonatal unit, that they are connected to monitors and their vital signs are measured. But did you only know that that data was only kept for a short amount of time? The data is only kept for a few days, and that is a sort of a limitation, and the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, they picked up on that, and they went and utilized their own real-world data system to harness the power of real-world data. So what did they do? They knew that a obvious like stress indicator for babies was when babies cry. So they set up microphones in the neonatal unit, and this helped them to determine how quickly the treatments were working based on the baby's stress level. So that allowed doctors to have real-time information on how the treatments were working. So that's an example of utilizing real-world data. And I've got one more example because I'm just trying to motivate you lot on how useful real-world data is. So here's another example. What happens if you're ill, what do you usually do when you get ill? You probably will go to your GP, is that correct? Okay, and your GP will answer you some questions, so you probably will have to fill in a questionnaire. You might have to get your weight checked, your height checked, your eyes tested. They may check your heart rate. They may look down your throat. Basically, you probably get they probably do basic tests on you. Now, so I just stopped. I can hear someone talking. That's why I stopped. Now, if that
nachgucken, das geht jetzt nicht.
So I can hear someone talking. Can you please mute your line, because I'm getting distracted. Thank you. So so now, after you go to the GP the first time, what happens if you don't get better? You probably would go back to your GP, or you will go to the hospital. When you go back the second time, more invasive testing is probably done. So you might get your blood drawn, you may get a CT scan. And the span between those two visits can be 6 weeks. But this is the key point that I want you to understand. Now, that data is very useful. Between those two visits, that contains a vast amount of useful data, and Exploris Medical, they caught onto this. So what do? They capture that data, and they capture it for every patient. That way, treatment information and treatment history and the and the recovery story for all patients is captured. There's machine learning techniques to look for patterns, to, for example, to see which GP is better at treating a particular demographic of patient. And the key advantage of this, though, is that Explorers Medical, they can recommend a hospital and they can recommend courses of treatment, and they can allow the patient to get better outcomes at lower costs, which is the key driver. So real-world evidence can help you to achieve better outcomes at lower cost. Here are more examples of real-world data. So has anyone got a Fitbit? If anyone's got a Fitbit and they're doing walking, that's an example of real-world data. There's also social media. There's a website, there's a social media site called Patients Like Me, and that is an online community where patients talk about which drugs help them with what conditions. So that's got a vast amount of useful information there. There's also your claims databases, patient surveys, registries. For example, here are more use of real-world data. Patient profiles, treatment pathways, support of risk, benefit risk analysis, detection of unmet need, etc. What another key thing about why we're using real-world data is it just allows you to see how the drug is doing without the training wheels on, because we know that when a drug is initially tested, it's in the clinic, so there's a lot of regulations. Yeah, there's a lot of procedures that need to be followed, whereas this is the real world. So we want to see how the drug is performing. Now, obviously there are challenges. Real world data is so vast. There are many records, many variables, and at present there's not, I know we are probably in the right field, but there's not many experts that know really how to handle and correctly analyze this data. There's not many experts out there, so that's a challenge. Obviously, we'll learn in time, going to conferences such as PhUSE, we can all learn more, and we can learn how to and what software to utilize for big data. There's probably inconsistencies in the data collection as well, and another challenge, linking all of those databases together. You may have to use Hadoop if you want to utilize real data. So for our stream, we would like obviously studies based on real data, any studies on big data. So purpose, reimbursement, comparative effectiveness, benefit risk analysis, site selection of clinical trials. We would like to see presentations around these. So if any of you that have got any presentations around this, please let us know and submit an abstract. Also, we'd like to see any case control studies, cross-sectional analysis, comparative effective studies, surveys, etc. And this is the last slide. Yeah, if you have any work on this, matching algorithms, propensity scores, competing risk analysis, please let Berber and I know. Okay? Well, that concludes the real-world evidence presentation, and now I'm going to hand it over to Michael.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Chris, and hello everybody. Okay. So now you should be able to see my screen. Yeah, hello to everybody from my side, and thank you very much for the introduction, Jules, in the beginning. And I am Michael Knoessl from Boehringer Ingelheim, and throughout the last 10 years, together with my colleague Franz Wald, I was chairing at the PhUSE conferences starting in 2007, the well-known CDISC and industry standards stream. The old CDISC and industry standards stream, we were dealing largely focusing on the foundational and, for example, therapeutic area foundational and other standards developed by the CDISC organization, and focusing on foundational aspects, explanations, interpretations of these standards and the associated metadata here, but also about implementation aspects, not the necessarily technical ones, but implementation aspects as related to processes in the pharmaceutical environment, or to standards governance, institutionalization to handle the long-term maintenance and implementation of these standards in an organization. In addition to that, the old CDISC stream was dealing with electronic submissions and interactions with health authorities. That means how to use these CDISC standards in the situation of submissions in the past, largely to FDA, nowadays also to PMDA and other national authorities. I am very sure that most of you, if not all of you, throughout the last 10 years at one or the other PhUSE conference have participated in as an audience member or even speaker in the CDISC and industry standards stream. However, throughout the last years, as CDISC has developed, and you are aware of that, has developed more and more standards, both foundational ones as well as associated ones. Let's think about therapeutic area standards or the bridge and share environments. And because all of the industry has really started adopting these standards in their internal environment and organizations, more and more abstracts, more and more interest was growing throughout the last couple of years. And so even though the CDISC and industry standards stream was largely the biggest stream at the PhUSE conferences, we could not cover all of the abstracts that we have received. And most of them actually had to be shifted to other streams, largely data handling or regulatory or coding solutions streams, but we couldn't cover all of the abstracts we received in the CDISC and industry standards stream. So we discussed about that and decided to split the CDISC stream. So the CDISC stream you are familiar with still continues, certainly, but as Jules already introduced, starting with the PhUSE this year, we have now two streams dealing with standards: the data standards and governance stream, and the standards and implementation stream. Let's talk a little bit about these two now. The standards, data standards and governance stream will be chaired now by myself from Boehringer Ingelheim, and I am happy that we have now Beate Hinsch from the company HMS on board. We both will continue chairing this one. We had to change the chairs because Franz Wald went into pension from this year. But I'm very happy that we could get Beate on board, and Beate is very well known to a lot of you because she is chairing the few single-day events here in Germany, in Frankfurt, and she is also very active in various different PhUSE streams in the past years. In the last years, she chaired, together with others, the management stream. The data standards and governance stream continues focusing on standards developed by the CDISC organization, but we are opening to current and as well as future standards developed also or adopted by other organizations, HL7, National Cancer Institute, or whatever way will come up. We will still continue with looking at standards applicable to clinical data themselves. The metadata behind, thinking about analysis results metadata, thinking about the define XML for raw data as well as for analysis data. But now not only developed by CDISC, but whatever may exist or may come up. We will focus here not on technical aspects of these standards. We will focus on the foundational aspects, the concepts behind. We will focus on how various organizations understand, describe, interpret, and implement these standards. We will look at processes needed to implement these standards in the organizations, and we talk about organizational aspects in order to long-term maintain, develop, and effectively use these clinical data standards, thinking about governance processes, as well as aspects of controlling these by means of compliances here. So in the past years, largely the abstracts we've received in the CDISC stream dealt with the CDISC standards, SDTM, ADAM, analysis data, and define XML. It is in the last couple of years that more and more papers were also presented on other CDISC standards like the SEND model, the analysis results metadata, the protocol representation model, or the bridge and share concepts developed by CDISC. As said, all of these will also in the future be handled in the data standards and governance stream, not on a technical, but on a rather conceptual, abstract level here. The other stream that the old CDISC stream has been splitted in is now the standards implementation stream. This stream is being chaired by Edwin van Stein from Astellas and by Nick de Donder from Business and Decision. The focus here now is that the topic of these standards is the same as in the data standards and governance stream, CDISC standards or other standards developed by other organizations, but the standards implementation stream now focuses on technical aspects of the implementations. They will technical implementations to support acquisition, exchange, analysis, as well as the submission and archival of clinical data and metadata associated with these data standards. Technical here means whatever is your technical implementation by using scripts, macros, be it SAS, be it R, be it any type of software, and other tools that have been developed by you in order to support the implementation of clinical data standards. However, it should not be all too technical. So if you go really into SAS code, programming code aspects, then we have rather other streams at the PhUSE conference dealing with this. However, your technical implementation should also be platform independent. Anyway, technical implementation goes in the standards implementation stream, as conceptual aspects go in the data standards and governance stream. So please keep in mind the old CDISC and industry standards stream, which has developed over the last 10 years a good reputation at the PhUSE conferences, is still alive, will stay alive, but with another name and with 2 streams in the future. And thank you very much. And now it is really up to you. We are looking forward that you are volunteering and provide and submit your abstracts such that the successors of the old CDISC stream in the PhUSE conferences will become as successful in the future as they were in the past. Thank you very much. And with this, I will hand over to Jinesh Patel, who will now give you an introduction of the poster session stream. Jinesh, I will make you a moderator now.
Okay, so got wondering, can anyone see my screen?
Hi Jinesh, you need to accept presenter rights. There should be a box. If you click OK, your screen will appear.
Okay. I'm not seeing that. That didn't pop up. I'm just getting something. Screen sharing is now paused for some reason. I don't know if Michael needs to just give me moderator access again.
Sorry, Michael, can you try again?
I can try again, but on my screen I see that you are already a moderator, that you already have control. Jinesh, I can't do it twice actually.
Yeah. It's showing you're the presenter, Jinesh, but not actually showing your screen. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Okay, we can see your email, but not your presentation. That's it.
Yes.
That's fine.
Jin, I think you're on mute.
Okay. Start again.
All right, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. Hopefully you can all see my screen and hear me now. So I'll start off again. My name is Jinesh Patel. I'm one of the chairs of the poster stream this year. I've been the chair for the poster stream for the last 4 years, along with Joanna Mersick. So I'm just going to share with you a little bit of information about the poster stream and hopefully interest a few of you in presenting or submitting abstracts. So the poster session provides an opportunity to cover a wide variety of topics in an informal, non-lecture sort of format. Posters are ideal presentations where a lot of graphics use, sort of source code. You can convey statistical concepts or anything thought-provoking. And it also invites participants to review at their own pace. So the session is a Sunday evening session. It usually runs around 7 p.m. in the evening. It's one of the only sessions, I'd like to say, where you can present and also enjoy a beer or drink of your choice whilst presenting. The poster reaches out to a really wide audience. We're not limited to capacity of rooms. Last year, there were over 500 delegates walking around looking at posters, which was a great experience. Any topic can be presented on. You're not restricted by any specific topic. It's just a case of thinking of a topic which is relevant and interesting to a wide audience. Again, it's an informal way to present. As I mentioned, drinks and food will be served during the evening. Lots of people, people can approach each other. You're not defined by 10 minutes with the 2 minutes questions. You've got a 2-hour time frame in which you can informally present to people. So I guess it's a lot more of a relaxed feel. The posters will be displayed and presented throughout the conference. After the poster session, the posters will be moved, but they will be displayed throughout the conference. So it gives an opportunity for people to look at your posters and review the information at their own pace. And if you put your contact details on the poster, it gives an opportunity for people to get in contact with you about your poster and engage further in discussions. It also gives people gives delegates an opportunity to engage with the presenter in a case where they can ask more than one question and have a sort of a dialogue of back and forth in a poster environment, as it's just a case of somebody walking up to your poster and just asking questions and learning. Okay, so a poster is worth 1,000 words. I look for a picture that would be fitting to justify this saying, and I think it's fair to, this is a picture, for anyone who doesn't know, this is a picture of the Edinburgh skyline, and I believe it's fitting for the saying to state that you could write 1,000 words about this picture. And also it should highlight that Edinburgh is definitely a beautiful city, and presenting at the conference does give you an opportunity to experience a little bit of the city. And if you look in the distance just left of the castle, somewhere around there is the conference centre that we will be using. So this is a slide. This is a slide that I like. This is something that I find myself saying a lot in my role. Let's talk and screen share. It's for me, it's the easiest way to save my fingers from writing a very long email or spending a long time reading something and understanding something, and that's why I guess I'm a big ambassador of the posters. So, you guys, probably like myself, you're having conversations where you're speaking to your colleagues or clients, and you're saying, let's have a screen share and let's discuss. Could that be of interest to somebody else? Could that be the foundations of a poster presentation? So, have a think next time you're having that screen share and TC. So I just want to share with you guys, hopefully you already know this, but every year all the conference material for the poster sessions and other streams within the conference are archived, and the archived poster presentations I've just inserted 4 here just as an example. But if you go to the link that I've provided at the bottom of the slide, you just need to log in as a member, and you've got access to 12 years of archived posters and presentations and journals. There's a lot of information out there, and I just want to highlight that. It's definitely something that, for potential presenters or people who are thinking about putting in an abstract, it's going to give you some ideas. Okay, so again, a poster is worth 1,000 words. I was looking for pictures, and Edinburgh is such a beautiful city that one picture just wasn't enough. This is another picture of the beautiful Edinburgh skyline at dusk, and I just want to reiterate, a poster is a great opportunity to get yourself out there and share with a really wide audience. So at this point, I'd just like to say thank you, and I look forward to seeing some of you in Edinburgh. Okay, so I will hopefully hand you over to Jules. Stop presenting and hand you over to Jules. Thank you. Jules, you should be presenting now.
Yes, and you should be able to see my screen again. Can you confirm?
Yes, I can see it. Thanks.
Thank you, Jin, and also thank you, Mikael, and thank you, Kriss, for your excellent presentations on your sessions, on your streams. We have received a few questions, and we have some time left in our slot, so we will go through these. And I will invite the panelists to answer the questions if they relate to their streams. So the first one is to Michael. This is the first question. I'll repeat the question for the audience, and I'll ask Michael to answer it. Is that okay for you, Michael?
Yes, of course.
All right. So the first question is, how does the PhUSE data standards workstream coordinate with Transcelerate data standards, as they are focusing on governance and adoption of standards as well? So how does the PhUSE stream coordinate with Transcelerate?
Yeah. If the stream, the data standards and governance stream, we largely focus primarily on standards related to clinical data, be it raw data, be it as collected, be it analysis data, largely related to operational processes in trial and project conduct, for clinical trial reports or for preparing dossiers for submissions in the interrelation with our pharmaceutical authorities worldwide. Nevertheless, Transcelerate standards, as long as is not related to technical implementation aspects, this Transcelerate initiative, if there is concepts with risk-based monitoring or with data exchange standards, if it's related to concepts, we are well open, of course. This is a fantastic enhancement and broadening of the data standards workstream as well. We will certainly have to evaluate. We will now receive, as long as the call for papers is open until end of April, as Jules introduced in the beginning, we will check all the abstracts that we receive in the various streams and then evaluate whether it is suited for the data standard, if it's related to the transparency initiative, whether it's well suited for the data standards and governance stream or whether better for another stream. Yeah. I hope this is kind of answering the question.
Thank you, Michael. We don't know, I don't know who asked the question, so to the person who did ask it, feel free to ask the second question if the answer isn't clear, and it will get through to us to answer later. I will now skip to the second question, which I will ask to Jin. Jin, are you okay?
Yeah.
So this question is, can posters that were presented at the PhUSE CSS in the US last week, can they be shown at the annual conference as well?
So, in the past, we have accepted posters which have been presented at the CSS with an acknowledgement that the CSS is largely US and the annual conference is more sort of global but with a strong European presence. As long as the topic is strong and of interest to a wide audience, we have definitely considered presentations which have been presented at the CSS. Obviously, okay. there is an element that if we receive a lot of posters, priority would be given to material which hasn't been shared in the past. Thank you. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you, Jim. We have no other questions right now, so let me skip to my last slide, but not before I say again thank you to Kriss Harris, Michael Knoessl, and Jim Patel for contributing to this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you have any questions after the webinar, feel free to contact me. My contact details are on this slide. These slides will also be on the website, so you'll be able to get the details from there as well. Or if it has to do with anything regarding the PhUSE, like registration or anything else, there's also the office@phuse.eu email address, and of course, phuse.eu website, which has tons of information on there already. For now, I'd like to say thanks to all of you for attending, and I wish you a very pleasant day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jules. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.